Walters is back for another season as the official bar of the Nats Chat podcast. Walters is the best spot to go before and after home games, located at the southeast corner of Capitol and N Streets, right across the street from the ballpark.
And now, two pigeons bemoaning the fact you can choose the TV you want with DirecTV.
So now they can pick out their favorite entertainment when they sign up and save money?
You mean if you like sports?
You can get a sports pack.
What about entertainment?
Entertainment pack.
It's like finding an old pizza with your favorite toppings, which for me would be pineapple and toenails.
Pineapple?
Pay for the TV you want, not the TV you don't. Genre pack starting at $34.99 a month. Visit DirecTV.com for more information. New residential customers only. Local channels vary by market. Services renew monthly unless you cancel online. Credit card required. Restrictions apply.
Here's the set, and Freeland holds. Runners go. The pitch is high. The throw is high and down the left field line. Cruz on his feet will come in to score. To second is Adams, content to stay there. And the Nationals on the board first, using the speed, creating a miscue by the Rockies, who commit their 18th error of the year. And it's the Nationals 1 and the Rockies nothing.
Here's the pitch. Swinging a ground ball up the middle. Nunez has it. Flips to Rosario for one. Steps on the base. Throws to first for the double play. Rosario wasn't yet at the bag. He stepped to the base, getting Nunez toss, and a strong throw to first doubles up Tolia. And Ferrer gets a huge double play to get the Nationals out of the 7th inning.
The 1-2 is on the way. Swinging a ground ball right side, fielded by Lowe. He's going to flip it to Finnegan, who steps on first. A curly W's in the books.
Lord sets, delivers. Swinging a line drive left center field. That's a base hit up the gap, and that'll give the Rockies the lead. Stallings and Shunk come in to score. Wood chasing it down at the fence. Moniak's trying for third. Nunez relay will be held onto. It's a stand-up triple and a 2-1 Rockies lead.
Clock is down to 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He lifts the leg and gets it off, and the pitch is swung on and missed. A slider again for strike 3. And the game is over. The Rockies win it. And the Rockies end their 8-game losing streak. And they take the finale of this series and the split of the day-night doubleheader.
And welcome to Nats Chat, along with MASNsports.com Nationals insider Mark Zuckerman, who was at Coors Field in Denver. I'm Al Galdi, host of the Al Galdi podcast. Well, go figure this 3-game series for the Nats at the Colorado Rockies. Game 1 was crazy, right? The 12-11 Nats win at the Rockies on Saturday in a game in which the Nats allowed a 12-2 7th inning lead to get trimmed to a 12-11 9th inning lead. But then we, on Easter Sunday, had a doubleheader split in which each game was a low-scoring affair. Game 1, a 3-2 Nats win on Sunday. Game 2, a 3-1 Nats loss on Sunday night. The Nats in this regular season now 9-13. The Rockies in this regular season now an MLB worst 4-17. Next up for the Nats is a 3-game series against the Orioles at Nationals Park. And we on Wednesday are holding an informal Nats Chat hangout at the home base of the Nats Chat podcast, Walters. That'll get going at 5 p.m. on Wednesday. Come hang out with the man who runs this podcast, Tim Shovers. So wear your Nats Chat podcast t-shirt. Should be a great time. Again, that's at Walters this Wednesday at 5 p.m. So at last, the Nats' 10-game road trip is over. This was a 10-game road trip during which the Nats placed not 1, not 2, but 3 players on injured lists, and shortstop C.J. Abrams, third baseman / shortstop Paul DeJong, and reliever Orlando Revolta. This was a 10-game road trip during which reliever Jorge Lopez and manager Davey Martinez got suspended. And this was a 10-game road trip during which the Nats went 4-6. Mark, I am guessing that the Nats are anxious to get home.
They aren't the only ones, Al. I'm ready to go home, too. And that's even after I missed the first leg of the trip in Miami. This was a long one. Ending it on a doubleheader is a tough way to go. Obviously, they had to do it. They didn't have a whole lot of options given the weather here. But I think by the end of this night, you could tell they had had enough. They're ready to head home. They wish they were heading home having swept the Rockies. They're content to take 2 out of 3. We can and we will go through everything that happened over these 18 innings on Sunday. But I think really when you get to the end of it, you win 2 out of 3, you feel good about that. I think they are probably more troubled by a game or two that they could have won earlier in the road trip that they didn't, even though, yes, they very easily could have won game 3 of this series and did not.
This does end up being a successful series for the Nats, for sure. Odd road trip, too. 3 series against 3 teams in 3 different divisions. You don't often see something like that. Usually you go out west. You go out west to face a bunch of teams out west, not just one. But in this case, that's what we had. So we had the crazy game on Saturday, a game in which the Nats were really good offensively. 12 runs, 12 hits, 5 walks, 3 for 9 with runners in scoring position. The 12 hits, 4 homers, a double, and 7 singles. But the Nats, over the 2 games on Sunday, did not have a single extra base hit. Of the 3-2 win at the Rockies in Game 1 of the doubleheader, the Nats totaled just 3 runs and just 6 hits, all of which were singles. So the Nats did work 4 walks, but went 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position. And the 3-1 loss at the Rockies on Sunday night in Game 2 of the doubleheader, the Nats totaled just the 1 run, 8 hits, and just 2 walks, went 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. All 8 of the Nats' hits were singles. So off the prodigious offensive outing on Saturday, 5 extra base hits, 0 extra base hits over the course of this doubleheader on Sunday.
Very surprising and very disappointing that would be the case. Now, you understand you're not going to come out here and score 12 runs in every single game, but you do expect at least some semblance of power. I thought Nathaniel Lowe, made a good point. I asked him, can it get in your head sometimes when you come here and you just assume that you're going to hit the cover off the ball and score a bunch of runs? And he says, yeah, and he admitted that he's guilty of that himself, that the slogan among ball players is you don't want to leave Coors Field without hitting at least 1 home run. Well, he did not. He had a bunch of singles and probably raised his batting average, but you go chasing the homers probably a little bit when you come here, and that's probably the last thing that you should do. And so against a Rockies pitching staff, as we mentioned, coming in, that has given up the most runs in the majors, to really do very little offensively in these 2 games on Sunday, it's a big disappointment. Yes, you won the first game thanks to good pitching, but you expect more offense than they got in these 2 games.
Yeah, Nathaniel Lowe in Game 2 of the doubleheader on Sunday as the Nats starting DH and number 3 batter, 3 for 4 with an RBI single and 2 other singles. Also in the game, Dylan Cruz as the Nats starting right fielder and number 6 batter, 1 for 4 with a single and a stolen base. And I did want to highlight what Cruz did in Game 1 of the doubleheader, basically scoring a run on his own, manufacturing a run on his own. So Cruz in Game 1 was the Nats starting right fielder and number 5 batter, went 1 for 4 with a single and a stolen base. He and the Nats 3-run second, had a went-out first pitch single on a grounder to the shallow left field grass. He then had to steal a second base that prompted a throwing error by Rockies catcher Braxton Fulford, allowing Cruz to score. Now, look, the Rockies defense in this series, far from stellar, so let's make that clear. But I love that from Cruz. Off the power display in Game 1 of the series on Saturday, manufacturing a run on his own in this Game 2 of the series in Game 1 of the doubleheader.
He goes to take off for third base, and I'm thinking, what are you doing? And then the throw sails in the left field. I'm like, okay, good move. Good job there. That inning itself was wild. You had awful defense by the Rockies. The Nats really not doing much. You had 3 singles. 2 of them never left the infield. They had 3 singles over the course of the day that were Baltimore chops off the plate and never left the infield. But what I liked in that inning is they did force the issue. Whether that was intentional or not, the Rockies were not prepared for it defensively. And that poor catcher, Fulford, had 3 throwing errors in the game, 1 to first, 1 to second, and 1 to third. He went around the horn with his 3 errors. He did his first career homer as well, so at least he had some semblance of a silver lining to it. But good on the Nats for, on a day when they weren't hitting and driving in runs, they scored 3 runs in that second inning without benefit of an RBI. And that's because of aggressive base running and because of some really bad defense from Colorado.
Yeah, the Rockies are a really bad team. I mean, we saw that up close and personal over the course of this series. The Cruz steal, by the way, was of third base, not of second base, as I said. I did want to ask you about one Nats position player in particular. We have not talked about him a ton, but Luis Garcia Jr., he was such a bright spot last season. He really is not doing much this season, and he hasn't come up much for a variety of reasons. The focus is more on James Wood and Dylan Cruz, and we've talked about, CJ Abrams, and, we've had like the rise of Alex Call to get into. But you look at Luis Garcia Jr. in this regular season here, he has been a disappointment. His OPS now is at .569, .209 batting average, .270 on base percentage, .299 slugging percentage. What do you make of what's going on with Luis Garcia Jr.?
It has been disappointing, and I feel like he's falling back into that trap that we saw a few years ago where he swings at a lot and he still makes contact, but it's not good, solid contact, instead of being more selective and picking the right pitches. There were a couple of pitches, I feel like, on Sunday that were way out of the zone, especially up and away. And the kind of stuff that normally you swing at, you have no business even attempting to swing, and you certainly aren't going to put the bat on the ball, and he still does. And that doesn't lead to good things, obviously. Kind of needs to settle down a little bit, be a little more selective, find the right pitch, keep his front shoulder, his front hip closed, not fly open. He did hit a ball well in the 8th inning of the nightcap. He hit it to the warning track in center, and for a split second, you thought he might have actually gotten a hold of it and hit a game-tying homer. Maybe he can take something from that one, but it has not been a good start for him. And a guy that I think there were some legit high hopes coming into the season because it really was a breakthrough 2024 for him at the plate and in the field. And so far, we really haven't seen either end of that equation. I think in the field, he looks like he's regressed a little bit. It's, 22 games, don't want to read too much into it, but I feel like he played better defensively last year, and we're seeing him not rise to that level so far this year.
Yeah, you felt after last season like you could put him into the conversation of the nucleus of building block players for the Nats in this rebuild, and the struggles so far this season kind of take you back to 2 years ago when you weren't sure what to make of Luis Garcia Jr. Hey, it's Al Galdi for Window Nation, which has a gift for Nats Chat podcast listeners that's as good as any James Wood home run. 4 free windows for every 4 windows that you buy, and you pay nothing until 2027. This offer is good through April 30th, so hurry. Schedule your free estimate at 866-90Nation or windownation.com, and tell Window Nation that you want the deal that you heard about from Al Galdi on the Nats Chat podcast. There's no limit to how much you can save, and if you buy a house full of windows, Window Nation will include a free entry door. Window Nation partners with the top window manufacturers in the nation to build windows to their high-quality specs. Then Window Nation passes the savings on to you. You'll protect your home with some of the best windows that you can buy at a fraction of the price of other brands, and you'll increase the value of your home. 4 free windows for every 4 windows that you buy, and you pay nothing until 2027. The offer is good through April 30th. Call 866-90Nation or visit windownation.com and tell Window Nation that you want the deal that you heard about from Al Galdi on the Nats Chat podcast.
LinkedIn Jobs is here for all small business owners who don't have enough time to make that crucial hire. Here's how LinkedIn Jobs work. The new feature can help you write job descriptions and then quickly get your job in front of the right people with deep insights on the candidates. You can post your job for free or pay to promote, which gives you 3 times more likely of a chance to get qualified applicants. It's easy to share with your network. Just let everyone know that you're hiring, and LinkedIn Jobs takes it from there. Find your next great hire on LinkedIn. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/natschat. That's linkedin.com/natschat to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm excited to tell you about the designs Homage has cooked up for the 2025 MLB season. If you're as baseball obsessed as I am, you'll love the full roster of major league looks from Homage. Amazing comfort and deep cut designs that help fans show off passion for their favorite teams. Homage has a massive selection that tells the story of the greatest sport from its very beginnings. Deep logo history, coast-to-coast stadium tours, and the biggest players from every era. Legends never die at Homage. If you need your new shirt for going to a ball game, Homage has you covered with its most comfortable fan clothing, and it's available for fans of all ages. This year's collection hits dinger after dinger after tater after tater. Fleece, tees, bottoms, and more. And don't forget to check out the new starter jacket lineup, an iconic dugout look you don't want to miss. Heroes get remembered, but legends never die, and these looks go long, period. Check out the Homage MLB collection to find your team's coolest gear.
Here is the payoff pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out on the curveball. So Irvin gets 3 strikeouts in a row after the home run. And he has 9 Ks through 6 innings.
Well, a major positive for the Nats in this series at the Rockies was the starting pitching. As much as Coors Field has been a nightmare for pitchers over the years, the Nats' starting pitchers actually navigated the ballpark quite well. We had the great outing from Mackenzie Gore in the 12-11 win at the Rockies on Saturday, and then in this doubleheader on Sunday. So the 3-2 win in Game 1, Jake Irvin, very good. 2 runs in 6 into third innings with 9 strikeouts versus no walks. Gave up just 3 hits, which were 2 home runs and a single. He issued a hit by pitch. He threw a lot of strikes, 83 pitches, 55 strikes, just 28 balls. And then the 3-1 loss at the Rockies on Sunday night in Game 2 of the doubleheader. Brad Lord was solid. Now, 2 runs in 4 innings is the final line, but he gave up just 5 hits, which were a triple, a double, and 3 singles. He issued 2 walks and a hit by pitch. He recorded 5 strikeouts. He threw a ton of strikes, 65 pitches, 46 strikes versus 19 balls. Really, the only inning in which Lord truly struggled was the inning in which he gave up both of the runs that he allowed. The 2 runs came in the bottom of the 4th on a 1-out hit by pitch of Jacob Stallings, a 2-out opposite field double by Aaron Schunk to no man's land in shallow right field, and a 2-out first pitch opposite field 2-run triple by Mickey Moniak to the left center field gap for a 2-1 Rockies lead. But man, overall, the Nats starting pitching in this series quite good.
Excellent. And I thought Jake Irvin, I know he's a very different pitcher from Mackenzie Gore, and he laughs about it. He admits I cannot do what Mackenzie does. And yet there really were similarities in the way they went about this. High strikeout total, good strike to ball ratio, and even with the thin air, was really effective with his breaking ball. We know the curveball is a big part of Jake Irvin's repertoire, and he was able to do like Gore did on Saturday and still get break on it, keep it near the zone, and get some swings and misses off of it. And he's made 2 career starts here now at Coors Field, and he's been very good in both of them. That's a nice little thing to know in the back of your mind if you ever come back here again, that you don't have to be spooked out by the thin air and everything else that comes along with pitching here. So that was, I thought, outstanding from him. And Lord, it's hard when you only get 4 innings. You can't read a whole lot into it and develop these overarching kind of conclusions. But I do feel like what we've seen from him so far suggests that as he builds his arm up, that he can be an effective big league starting pitcher who goes 5, maybe even 6 innings. He does throw strikes. That's been good. He hasn't really seemed fazed by anything. Got himself out of a couple of jams. Got out of those by getting swings and misses. He threw 97 to Zach Veen to strike him out with 2 on in the first inning. Hit a little bit of a wall there in the 4th. He did get himself up to 65 pitches, so a little bit more than we've seen from him in the first 2 starts. I'd like to see him extended beyond that next time. I think he's going to get at least 1 more start. Michael Soroka should be ready for a rehab assignment sometime this week, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll see if he needs more than the 1. If it's only 1, Lord could be heading back to the bullpen soon. If not, we may get a couple more starts out of him.
Well, Lord's been all right. I mean, it's not like greatness. And like you said, it's hard to evaluate start in, start out because he's not being kept in there for long. But he's given them a chance to win these games. And at the very least, even if Soroka comes right back into the rotation and Lord is out, if the Nats have to go back to Lord, you have a sense of what you have in him. And he overall, I think, has done a pretty nice job. With Irvin, so second consecutive really impressive outing for him. His previous outing was that 3-0 win at the Pittsburgh Pirates on April 15th. Irvin in that game, 7 scoreless innings, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk. So off a rough start to his season, maybe he's getting going here, back-to-back impressive outings. As for the adventure that is the 2025 Nationals bullpen. So the good news is that the bullpen in this doubleheader, much better than what we had in the 12-11 win at the Rockies on Saturday. But of course, that almost had to be the case. The 3-2 win at the Rockies in Game 1 of the doubleheader. 2 Nats relievers combined for 2 2/3 scoreless innings, though we did have some drama. Jose A. Ferrer tossed 1 2/3 scoreless innings with 2 swinging strikeouts. Kyle Finnegan tossed a scoreless bottom of the 9th for the save, despite issuing a 1-out 4-pitch walk of Ryan McMahon and then throwing a wild pitch and generating a swinging strikeout of Hunter Goodman for the 2nd out, as the Nats catcher at the time, Riley Adams, had trouble finding the ball. allowing McMahon to advance from first to third. So things did get too close for comfort in game one of the doubleheader, but Finnegan ultimately nailed the door shut, and the save, Finnegan's 96th career regular season save with the Nats, surpassing Drew Storen for the second most regular season saves for the Nats since the franchise moved to D.C. And then the 3-1 loss at the Rockies on Sunday night in Game 2 of the doubleheader. 4 Nats relievers combined to allow 1 run in 4 innings. Colin Poche, perfect bottom of the 5th with 2 strikeouts. Good to see that. Jackson Rutledge, 2 scoreless innings with 3 swinging strikeouts. Eduardo Salazar officially allowed a run in a third of an inning. He and a Rockies 1-run 8th faced 3 batters but got just 1 out. And Jorge Lopez in that Rockies 1-run 8th faced 2 batters and got 2 outs in his return from his reduced suspension of 2 games. So look, it wasn't perfect, but off what we had on Saturday, for the bullpen to allow just 1 run over the 2 games in this doubleheader, you certainly take that if you're Davey Martinez.
Let's talk about the first game. That really was the big-time performances from both Ferrer and Finnegan. We talked about how good Jake Irvin was. He's 2 batters into the 7th inning in a 3-2 game, gives up an infield single, only the 3rd hit he's allowed in the game, and then gets a pop-up. And he's only at 83 pitches. And here comes Davey Martinez to the mound. And I'm thinking to myself, are you really in game 1 of a doubleheader going to pull a very effective starter at 83 pitches? And the answer is yes, he was. And I was questioning that at the moment. But here's the thing. Ferrer comes in and immediately gets an inning-ending double play from Michael Toglia. And that was a specific matchup that they had targeted. They wanted Ferrer to face Toglia, in part believing that Ferrer's sinker could induce a ground ball. It worked to perfection, so good on them.
I wanted Chucky on Toglia. I thought we can get a ground ball from him with the sinker. It worked out good.
For making that decision, and good on Ferrer for executing the pitch, and then comes back out to pitch another inning and a fairly quick 8th inning. He ends up recording 5 outs on only 16 pitches, 13 of them strikes. Really good stuff. I know he struggled the day before. We have seen, though, he has the ability to bounce back. Unlike some of these other guys who have struggled, Ferrer has shown that he can come back the next day and look really good. And so I'm still pretty encouraged about what he can be. Needs a little more consistency, but you can see the stuff is there. The makeup is there that makes you believe he can be a very effective high leverage reliever. And then in Finnegan's case, the bizarre strikeout wild pitch in which maybe the best thing that happened from it is that Goodman, the batter, gave himself up. He could have run to first and easily made it. Instead, he just starts walking back towards the dugout, gave himself up so they get the second out. Instead of first and third, 1 out, it's just a man on third with 2 outs. And almost an identical situation to the day before, where Finnegan all of a sudden lets the tying runner get 90 feet away. And just like he did that day, doesn't get fazed by it, gets the out. As we've discussed, I know he's not perfect, but I feel like at this point, he never lets the moment become too big for him. He may get himself on the cusp of disaster, but he more often than not still delivers when it matters. And this is an incredible stat from our friend Dave Jagler and loyal listener Dave Jagler. He enjoys the podcast. He figured out that Kyle Finnegan has now pitched in 300 major league games for the Nationals, totaling exactly 300 innings and recording exactly 300 strikeouts. How about that? That's a pretty impressive trifecta. And maybe you wouldn't have thought that Finnegan is 1 strikeout per inning for his career. He is. We don't necessarily think of him as that blow-you-away reliever. He's got a strikeout per inning for his entire major league career. That's pretty good.
I've got another stat for you with Finnegan. When you look at what he's done now in this regular season, his ERA is nearly the same as his whip, which I think speaks perfectly to the season that Finnegan is having. He overall is effective, but he puts guys on base, and it's almost never a 1-2-3 save. Finnegan's ERA is 186, which is outstanding. His whip is 134, which is not so good for an ace reliever. And to me, that is Kyle Finnegan in a nutshell. He's 8 for 8 on saves. He's getting the job done as a closer in terms of converting save opportunities, and you'll take an ERA under 2, especially with this bullpen. But that whip speaks to what it is with Finnegan, which is it's almost never a 1-2-3 inning, and usually there's some kind of adventure that you have to embark on with him, but he ultimately does come through. So I find that so interesting that the whip is nearly as high as the ERA, and the ERA is superb.
Well, maybe it's appropriate then that he's now only got one guy left on the leaderboard ahead of him in the career saves department with the Nationals. That man, of course, is Chad Cordero, who could walk the tightrope with the best of them. Chad would load the bases with nobody out in a one-run game and somehow get out of it. So maybe there's a little bit of similarity there and a little bit of something appropriate that Finnegan is kind of doing it like the Chief did for all those years. And I mean, Chad Cordero was really good, and he wasn't here as long as Finnegan. So that was 113 saves for Cordero, basically in 3 seasons. Finnegan is now entering his 6th year, although he hasn't been the closer the entire time. So if he does get to that number, and he's on track to do it before the year is up, good on him. Maybe won't be considered in the same class as Chad Cordero, but I do want to give him credit because, yes, he gets himself in trouble, but way more often than not, he gets himself out of it. And I think the experience he's gained over the years pays off in those situations.
Tim Shover's here to tell you about Babbel. Did you know that the Nats are on the Spanish radio airwaves for the 2nd consecutive season?
Primera y segunda, lanza, compró, el batazo por el lado izquierdo, atrás el dinero, la bola se va, se va, se va, se va, se fue la fruta. Home run, James Wood. 7-0 están ganando los nacionales a los Cardenales de San Luis.
Ellos estaban pidiendo que rompa el hielo y que anote su primer cuadrangular. Por fin ha llegado. Aquí está presente. ¡Woo!
If you want to know what Luciano and Gustavo are saying on the broadcast on calls such as this one, then check out Babbel. And here's their special offer for Nats Chat listeners. 60% off subscriptions at babbel.com/NatsChat. Get up to 60% off at babbel.com/NatsChat. That's spelled BABBEL.com/NatsChat. Babbel.com/NatsChat. Rules and restrictions may apply.
I'm excited to tell you about the designs Homage has cooked up for the 2025 MLB season. If you're as baseball obsessed as I am, you'll love the full roster of major league looks from Homage. Amazing comfort and deep cut designs that help fans show off passion for their favorite teams. Homage has a massive selection that tells the story of the greatest sport from its very beginnings. Deep logo history, coast-to-coast stadium tours, and the biggest players from every era. Legends never die at Homage. If you need your new shirt for going to a ball game, Homage has you covered with its most comfortable fan clothing, and it's available for fans of all ages. This year's collection hits dinger after dinger after tater, fleece, tees, bottoms, and more. And don't forget to check out the new starter jacket lineup, an iconic dugout look you don't want to miss. Heroes get remembered, but legends never die, and these looks go long, period. Check out the Homage MLB collection to find your team's coolest gear.
Second baseman Garcia, the deepest of the drawn-in infielders. He's almost halfway. Nunez is on the grass in front of the runner from second. Swing a ground ball right side. Garcia has it. He slips. He throws home. They won't get him. Throw to first. Out there. Lipscomb handling the throw at first. So with Garcia back and fielded the ball on the backhand, he kind of slipped and didn't get as much as he wanted to on the throw, so the run scores. The insurance run and the Rockies lead 3-1.
I also wanted to note this. Hit by pitches by this Nats pitching staff. Jake Irvin had one in Game 1 of the doubleheader. Eduardo Salazar had one in Game 2 of the doubleheader. We have seen Nats relievers hit a bunch of guys so far this regular season, but the Nats for the regular season are 3rd in the majors in most hit by pitches in terms of hit by pitches issued by the pitching staff. 14. I don't know. I would ask, is there a reason for this? I guess it's just that the bullpen isn't very good. I think that's probably your primary reason, but it is something. Basically, every game it feels like the Nats have at least one hit by pitch by a pitcher.
Yeah, and sometimes you'd say, okay, they're purposely trying to go inside on guys, but a lot of these have not been fastballs. There have been a good number of breaking balls that have gone way out of the way and hit batters. So I'm not going to try to interpret too much into it other than for too many guys on this staff, command has been a major issue for them.
No doubt. Well, The Nats go from facing the team with the second worst starting pitching ERA in the majors to facing the team with the worst starting pitching ERA in the majors, the Orioles. No game for the Nats on Monday. They mercifully get an off day. And then next up comes a nice homestand, which starts with a 3-game series against the Orioles Tuesday evening through Thursday evening. 6:45 start time for each game. Mitchell Parker is the Nats starting pitcher for Game 1. Trevor Williams is the Nats starting pitcher for Game 2. Mackenzie Gore is the Nats starting pitcher for Game 3. And then after that is a huge series, a wraparound series next weekend, Friday through Monday, a 4-game set against the New York Mets, whose pitching has been like otherworldly so far. So we'll deal with that in due time. But, this is always fun. Nats, Orioles, and again, Orioles starting pitching has been abysmal. The team has been rocked by injury. So this is a series in which the Nats, in theory, can do some damage offensively.
Yeah, you'd like to see it come together. Looks like the weather's going to be warm, so maybe the ball will fly somewhat at Nationals Park. And the biggest thing that could help them out, and we may see it before that series is over, would be the return of C.J. Abrams. He has looked good the last few days, all the drills he's been running in the field. I watched him run the bases as well. He looks pretty close to 100% from my untrained eye as far as his hip is concerned. I think they may want him to go just on a quick rehab assignment potentially, maybe Tuesday and or Wednesday. I think Harrisburg is at home. That could be a spot for him maybe to be. And if that all goes well, maybe before we get to Thursday's series finale, we see him. I do think they are missing him a lot. It's taken nothing away from Nasim Nunez, whose defense is outstanding and has put together a handful of quality at-bats. But we know C.J. Abrams at the top of that lineup makes a difference, especially when you put him in front of James Wood. Because when Wood gets a hold of one, you'd really like for there to be somebody on base and not just be a solo homer.
I was going to ask you, do you think we will see Wood in the number 1 spot with Abrams back, or you think Abrams goes right back to being the regular number 1 batter?
I think they'll put CJ back in the leadoff spot. Now, if over time he's not getting it done and you want to make sure you get that quick spark, maybe you go and put Wood in the number 1 spot. But I think they do believe ultimately they are best off with CJ leading off, doing all the things that he can do. Like he was off to a good start to the year before he got hurt. It's not like he was struggling at all. You do that and he gets on and now you have Wood hitting behind him. To me, that's a pretty good 1-2 punch.
You tell us what you think. Hit us up on X at Nats_chat. You can find us on Blue Sky at Nats Chat Podcast. You can email the show, natschatpodcast@gmail.com, including if you would like to sponsor the program, all kinds of things that we could do for you. Hit up Tim Shovers, again, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. Check out our website as well, natschatpodcast.com, at which you can purchase a Nats Chat Podcast t-shirt. All Nationals radio highlights on Nats Chat are courtesy of 106.7 The Fan. For Mark Zuckerman, I'm Al Galdi. We thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time on the Nats Chat Podcast.
First pitch to Amador is lined toward right center field. Young chasing. He dives, and he caught it. He rolls over, pops up, and throws it back in. Another scintillating defensive play in the outfield. This time it's Jacob Young diving to his left, robbing Amador of a base hit. Second out of the inning.
At Strayer University, we help students like you go from, is it possible, to anything is possible by offering access to up to 10 no-cost gen ed courses, so you can reach your goals affordably and fast. Visit strayer.edu to learn more. No-cost gen eds provided by Strayer University affiliate Sophia. Eligibility rules apply. Connect with us for details. Strayer University is certified to operate in Virginia by Chev and has many campuses, including at 2121 15th Street North in Arlington, Virginia.